Good evening. The Toronto Raptors extend their streak to 10 games with a loss, a last second loss, by the way, just on the final play of the game, one possession game. The Toronto Raptors fall to a healthy Washington Wizards 112, 109. One game, one win since the pizza party. And I had this game scheduled on the calendar. Like, this was the ultimate test of the tank, the Washington Wizards. And I know that they're on a back-to-back. They got in late, but this is the Washington Wizards. And I don't know if people remember this, but Kyle Kuzma actually pretty much gave the Raptors a win earlier in the year when the Raptors went on a 22-0 or 22-2 run to end the game against the Wizards. Kuzma with a bunch of plays there. I made a video about him stepping out of bounds with like 4 seconds left in the game. Tonight, he kind of did that again, fouling Trent Jr. on a 3. I don't know if the Wizards have any interest in losing. I think, I mean, the point's been made a lot about Jordan Poole, but I don't think Kyle Kuzma gets enough credit for being one of the lowest IQ players in the association. And he's talented. Like, he has talent, but just his basketball IQ it's worse than a lot of these March Madness games. Like, you watch, like, I watched March Madness the last 2 or 3 days. Going from that to watching Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole is like a very easy transition. Like, this Oakland team I just watched didn't line up anybody at the free throw line. So their guys are taking free throws. They don't line up anybody from their own team on the free throw line to maybe, get a rebound or something. They're all in the backcourt. And so you go from that level of basketball to Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole, and it's really seamless. It's beautiful. But even more beautiful in this game were the Toronto Raptors, who pull out a 10-game losing streak. This is one of the best in-season tanks I have ever seen. It's going to be studied, not because, like, 10 games that's not going to break any record books, but I think it's kind of the way it's been done. Of course, talked a lot about Jalen McDaniels taking the technical free throws, Jalen McDaniels playing really important overtime minutes when they go on a 4-minute scoring drought. And then they don't have any of their starters. I guess Gary's kind of a starter. So you don't have any of your starters. You have, I guess, 20% of your starters against a Washington team that's pretty healthy. I know Koulibaly's out, but other than that, they're really into Denny Avdia. That's the guy in Washington. So if you listen to the Wizards broadcast, like, that's their Scotty Barnes. That's who, like, you would, looking at this Wizards organization, you would just, like, Old Yeller yourself naturally. But the reason that you don't do that is you have a guy like Denny Avdia who, they're just over the moon with him. He's on everybody's scouting report, they're saying, and that the league is really taking notice and waking up to the unstoppable force, the terror of Washington, the scariest thing in Washington since the DC Snipers themselves, Denny Avdia, who played a good game tonight. 22 points, 8 for 19 from the field. I don't know if that's, like, good for him, but gets you 13 rebounds. They are over the moon with him. Jordan Poole, pretty incredible game from Jordan Poole, and this was one of my this is one of my favorite games, actually, because I think it was a combination of the crowd being really quiet and the microphones or something, but I was listening to the Wizards broadcast, and you can really hear a lot of stuff. Like, you can hear Gary screaming, two free throws, because I guess they thought there was only one free throw. You can see Gary screaming at Jordan Poole for flopping. And then there was a couple scenes where we have Bruce Brown just playing dead, like in the thumbnail, and then Gary playing dead as well in the fourth quarter. A lot of theatrics in this game. Could spawn a Raptor Moments video for sure, especially with just how kind of mic'd up. It almost felt like Gary was, like, mic'd up in this game, because you could hear a lot of his conversations, him yelling. There was a play where Kuzma kind of hit him in the back of the head, and it got reviewed for a flagrant. Gary was really pissed about that. But yeah, I mean, just late game. execution, this really did feel like a March Madness game. I mean, just neither team, because I don't know if the Wizards, like, if they're like, I don't know if they're locked into where they are, maybe not, but it seemed like both teams were not that interesting in winning this game. I mean, the final kind of play that the Raptors, well, Bruce Brown missed the last shot, but the play before that, just a bunch of bunnies missing, and then Grady airball. I don't know if I've ever seen this before, but just amazing stuff. Grady airballs the three, and then 4 seconds later takes a transition take foul. Like, I mean, that's a great swing in momentum and events, potential scoring. Because if that wouldn't have happened, I think the Wizards could have won. Wizards probably could have won if Kuzma didn't foul Gary for the three, or at least probably would have pushed it to overtime. I don't really know what you're thinking if you're Kuzma on that play. Again, he and Jordan Poole are one of the more fun players to watch because they are so unpredictable. They are just kind of so chaotic and wild, and in this environment, who I don't even know who the Wizards coach is. Can somebody, where's Trash Clips, the high IQ guy in the chat all the time? Can you tell me who the Washington Wizards coach is and tell me like fun facts about him? Because I have never seen that man in my entire life. But shouts to him. They're having a great season, arguably the worst team in the NBA by far. They got Rashawn Holmes on this team, who I think out offensive rebounded the entire Raptors squad. Wizards, they had a great broadcast though. It wasn't Bally Sports. You could hear all the players yelling and screaming. Could have been the crowd being really quiet. They were one of them was a former player. Just great stuff. I definitely miss Alvin though. I miss screwing up all my metaphors and speech patterns in the post-game show, but I'm refreshed. I'm ready to go, caffeinated on a broadcast. But yeah, Raptors 11 games left now. So you could do a 21 game losing streak is on the table for this team. 21 would definitely be a thing. And I kind of, after this game, I kind of believe that it could happen. It could happen for them. And maybe they don't really need Portland, because Portland is on a similar, like, Portland's really been disappointing to me. Like, they're losing games just like the Raptors are, and they've got a guy named Scoot. His name is Scoot, and he's on their team and he's playing. His name is Scoot. They have Dominatin, and they can't win games with a guy named Scoot and a guy named Dominatin. It's been one of the tougher parts of the tank. If Portland would just give a couple, a couple assists the Raptors' way, but that has not been the case. But if you're dropping games to the Wizards like this, I mean, and it was, I kind of thought going into this game that the Raptors could lose, but then once it started, I was like, nah, the Raptors are going to win this one. The Wizards are either going to beat themselves, or they're going to be so bad because they're the Wizards, and even though they're pretty healthy, I mean, their franchise cornerstone is Deni Avdija. So, but they're going a 9-0 run early on. So it was like, okay, we got there's some potential here, and they closed the game, I think, on an 11. I think it was an 11-2 run, and then Gary hit 3 free throws. So, yeah, pretty crazy game here. We got Jordan Poole with a few interesting plays. He dribbled it off his foot out of bounds at 4:56 in the first quarter, and it was like a really awkward one where he wasn't like running in transition or being pestered or being double teamed or anything. Like, it was just him kind of like casually dribbling the ball, and it just went off of his foot and just went out of bounds. It was great. Like, Kelly Olynyk threw the ball into the 300s, which was great. And then maybe my favorite play of the game was, so Jordan Poole, he got like kind of famous for I don't even know what you call it. It's a carry, but he does this thing where, I did a video of it on Twitter. It's something that nobody in the NBA had ever done before Jordan Poole, because it's a carry, and it's like, I know players can get away with carries a lot these days, but it's such an egregious carry. And it's when he scoops the ball. I think you know what I mean. Like, he scoops the ball and then like does these turns, but he spins not how you normally would, like when Pascal would spin, he would like go up against the defender, use his weight against him, and then spin. Whereas Jordan Poole is it's almost like he's rejecting a screen. It's almost like he's rejecting his own spin and going the wrong way. And I guess that was one of his big, like, Instagram reel, or people, cutting up clips. Oh my God, wow, this guy's so talented. And then when he goes to the Wizards, the discourse changes. But no, it's just the carrying rules changed. And he did a play tonight where he did like half of it. I don't even know how to describe it. It like the full version of it is already so strange, and so strange that he got away with it for a long time. I don't know if people remember, but last season at the start of the year, the refs started calling like 20 carries a week, and I think half of them were Jordan Poole. And I feel like he's kind of weeded that specific move out of his game, but he did, like, the full version of it looks weird. Doing half of it and then bailing on it, I wish I had the clip. I'll definitely put that out though, because it was great. And then he goes down and Gary is screaming at Jordan Poole. That's a flop. You could hear it very crystal clear on the broadcast. And then, again, I don't know who this Wizards coach is, but this was another one of my favorite moments. The most emphatic, I almost wrote empathic, but emphatic moment of the game, like the thing that got him the most just exuberant, riled up, ready to fucking go, was the opportunity for a 2-for-1. Like this man was like picking coupons out. Like that's his like big score, is a Jordan Poole logo pull up 3 2-for-1, and he was just screaming at Poole to like get it going and get into the 2-for-1, and then Poole just bricks the I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, it's entertainment at the end of the day. JFL had a wild finish, but he had kind of been doing like Malachi stuff earlier, but I thought today he was a lot more aggressive, but that kind of also bordered on just kind of crazy. I don't know. I haven't really known what to make of him. I don't really know what his role is. He kind of walks around like he like pooped his pants or something. Like it doesn't look comfortable. Like he's just kind of, and then when he dribbles, it's very erratic. Kind of like what I've been seeing from Ramsey a little bit more. I think they're kind of the same. Like I don't think JFL is a point guard. I don't know where that came from. I think they're both kind of like slashing. Can you call them shooting guards if shooting is not their calling card? But anyways. And then on the broadcast, Garrett Temple at center, which that's another. I mean, this game is just hilarious. Like, Garrett Temple donning the fresh number 17, his third number as a Raptor. I love that. Maybe he'll stick with this one, but and then we have four. There was 4 straight turnovers in the Temple at center. Like, I don't know if it was his fault, but there's 4 straight turnovers, 2 on the Wizards, 2 on the Raptors. Again, this is a March Madness game. You go from March Madness, you turn on this game. It's a seamless transition. It fits into your day exactly. Both of these teams. Speaking of March Madness, my Bulldogs pulling out the victory today. Sucks for Mark Few that it's a dry county, but Kispert, with some Gonzaga violence on Kelly Olynyk on one play. Kelly was kind of pissed about that. And then another really great Jordan Poole play where he goes down, and then immediately I loved how quickly the mop guy came when Jordan Poole fell down. It was pre-anticipated. Like, he's watched, there's only 11 more games left in the year, so he's watched Jordan Poole for like 70 games. The mop guy, he understands, he knows when that thing is about to go down, and he was right there. I don't know if I've ever seen, other than Grant Williams cleaning up Marcus Smart's ass sweat on the ground, I don't know if I've ever seen a cleanup that quickly happen. That was another really incredible play. And then right after that, Jordan Poole throws a driving cross-court Luka Doncic through 4 guys, but it goes right to the fourth Raptor, and then. But yeah, he had like 12 or 13 assists, Jordan Poole. So, I guess you can live with some of the turnovers. I guess they were. Did they trade? They traded Tyus Jones. Like who even is the point guard in this? Like who is the point guard on the Raptors? I don't really know. Terrence Davis, is that the real Terrence Davis? I hope not. Garant played center today. LMAO Holy. Why did Temple switch his number up, says Mafia Renee? I don't know. He switched it to 17. Dennis had 17 before, but Dennis left earlier, so I don't really know. Trash clips. Keith worked as an assistant for your Supersonics, the coach for the Wizards. Okay, well then I completely eat my words. Great guy. Love his experience that he picked up with George Karl. And Trash Clip says he was performance lead for the team with Durant, Westbrook, and Harden. How did that team do? I'm not bitter about that at all. But yeah, shouts to Brian Keefe. Wes Unseld Jr. got moved to the front office. He started as a video coordinator. Okay, so he's a video guy. I take it all back. He's a Seattle guy. He's a video guy. Maybe he was cheering for Gonzaga as well tonight. Vegan Grass says, thank you for making me laugh about the Raptors. I mean, what else can you really do at this point? You've got no starters. You've got a 10-game losing streak. And Reed Shepherd just played the worst game in the history of the NCAA, who could probably... It's funny like how these things work, because he was like the 7th pick, then moved up to the 4th, but after that game, he might be back there at 6 or 7. I don't know where people stand on him after that. I mean, I couldn't even believe that Kentucky game, but anyways, back to this game. Probably the most action-packed part of the game was the whole Gary. It was like Jordan Poole had a few moments, 8 minutes into the third quarter, and it was really kind of Gary who became the main character. He was really mad when Kuzma hit him in the back of the head, which, I understand. It was kind of a dumb play, and then of course Kuzma. That could be a video, or I could tie those two things in. Like Kuzma hitting Gary on the 3-point foul, and then Kuzma hitting Gary on the back of the head. Kuzma just like a little bit too into Gary in this game. Like you don't have to be that aggressive and hard with him. It was funny because there was a play with Gary like 3 or 4 games ago. My only narrative on the Toronto Raptors is that I'm higher on Gary than most people. That's like my only Raptors hot take. Everything else I'm just dumb and neutral, but that's one that I will kind of even at his lowest, I still think he can be like a Doug McDermott, just launch threes. But anyways, he had a play a few games ago where I can't remember who it was against, but he was in, obviously in transition. I don't know how to describe it. I think the video of the guy jumping at the judge sideways and then kicking his feet up in the air and falling over, like that really is Gary in transition. There's no way really other way to describe it. But there was a few games ago where he his deceleration was beautiful. He came to pretty much a complete stop, faked the guy out and finished the layup, made it look really easy. He did that twice tonight, which I was like, damn, I thought that first time was maybe like by accident or an anomaly because I hadn't seen it before. But twice in this game. But then what's great about Gary is he'll match it with 2 or 3 just completely baffling transition plays. One where he tried to go reverse, got fouled, laid on the ground for a little while, just kind of a baffling play. And then actually this is probably the play of the game for me. It'd probably be a video, even though I'm about to drop another Gary video, but it doesn't really matter. I can do 2 in a row. There's no rules here. I'm a boss. Gary gets stuffed by the rim. 2:43 left in the fourth quarter. He really tried to cock that thing back and really go for it. And I'm surprised it didn't wedgie. I think that would have made it. That would have made it the ultimate. Maybe I can edit that somehow to make it look like it did. But that would have been the ultimate. But yeah, he got absolutely stuffed by where the rim, the space where you would wedgie, like the space in between the rim and the backboard. He just went in with bad intentions. I think it was uncontested. I think his angle was a little bit weird, but I I mean, he's not the tallest guy. I think he's what, 6'2", 6'3", but still, like, in the NBA, I mean, that's it's pretty tough. You don't see that. You don't really see that too often. Like, you'll see guys maybe, they'll be driving and someone will be on their hip and they'll kind of go up together and maybe there's contact, or they get moved off, or they take off from far away and like they hit the rim or whatever. But this was like a pretty clean look, nobody really on him, cocks it back and just right against the rim. That was great. I was in the kind of crunch time fourth quarter, and like right after that, Kelly just throws it into the upper deck. Like this was an amazing ending of the game. Grady airballing the three and then taking a transition take foul. Again, I don't know if I've really seen that. Kuzma fouling Gary on the three at the end. Raptors missing a bunch of bunnies. And then another great moment was 10-16 in the fourth quarter. Darko does the long timeout walk, like I've said this a million times, but the further the coach walks out onto the floor after calling a timeout, the more angry they are. And yeah, he like bolted out there on the timeout. So ideally, you call a timeout, you want to slow down momentum, but you also want to kind of draw up a play for, the next one or two possessions down the floor. And Jordan Nwora gets the ball. I don't know. We'll never know what only Darko and the players will ever know what the play drawn up was, because immediately, like as fast as you possibly could, Jordan Nwora turns the ball over. Kyle Kuzma goes down, gets the dunk. Darko calls another timeout. But I was watching the Wizards broadcast, so I didn't get to see how far he walked it on the second timeout, but I do want to go back and see if Sportsnet captured that. I do want to see if he walked out further on the second timeout, because it was two timeouts within a 12-second window. Yeah, it was that's when I think that's when I knew. Like, beginning of the fourth quarter, that sequence of events happens. I don't know what caused the angry walkout, but it was obviously something. Maybe it was the 13-0 run that the Wizards were on. I got that written down. So the Wizards, they end the third quarter on a 7-0 run, and then they parlay that into a 13-0 run bleeding into the fourth. Darko walks onto the floor, like super angry, calls the timeout. Jordan Nwora first sniff at a fresh out of the timeout. All these new ideas. I'm sure the coaches were like, no, we should do this, we should do this, we should do this. Players are like, oh, okay, I'm gonna give it to you. You're gonna go over here. You're gonna be here. You're gonna go over there. Okay, there. You're gonna cut. Now, if that's not there, you're gonna do this. This is the backup. Okay, and this is the tertiary. I probably don't say tertiary. This is the third plan. If this breaks down, you're gonna go here, and then I want you guys back on defense on the next play. Next play down. If you're in transition, do this. If you have a mismatch, do this. This guy's going over here a lot. This guy's going over here a lot. Look at the corners. Blah blah blah. Jordan Nwora turnover. Oh man, amazing stuff. 10 games, Washington Wizards. I mean, you got no starters, but this, I mean. So yeah, Danny Avdija is there Scotty Barnes, and then Gary just a couple transition plays. And the game ends with a Bruce Brown decent look. Don't know if that's the guy. Don't know if that's the... I think they had time too. There was like 11 seconds left on the clock, I think they had. He didn't do it John L. Davis, but he got a decent look. Like, you can't really be mad at the look. But you had Grady out there. You had Gary out there. But from what I've seen from Bruce Brown, I mean, shouts to him for, being an NBA player. Garrett Temple was on the Raptors show the other day, and they were like, how do you stay ready for these games? Like, it's amazing. And he's just like, I'm an NBA player. And yeah, you got to give credit to Bruce Brown for, being an NBA player. But I think he's just kind of using this as a way to just kind of have fun, freestyle. I think he is a high IQ player, and I think it's different with him. And actually, afterwards, I'm sure some of you have already seen this, but there was an incredible post on Real GM that made its way to Twitter about the Darko coaching clinic, and they have like 15 juicy, well typed out notes. It's actually well typed out. Better writing than Michael Grange, who consistently scores 85 out of 100 on Grammarly. Doug Smith, 81 out of 100 on Grammarly. This was a nicely written little fucking piece about Darko's coaching clinic, what they saw in the practice, who was being good, who was being lazy, what the system is being built around, blah, blah, blah. So I'll read that in a sec once I'm kind of done the bullshit from this game. Vegan grass, angry Darko had me feeling some way. So yeah, the only downside is I didn't get to see much Darko on the Wizards broadcast. They were showing the guy who I just learned of his existence a few minutes ago. I didn't get to see that, but I will go back. Terrence Davis says Gary's 6'5". This is why I don't make takes on players. This is why I don't rank players. This is why I don't say this player should start over this player. I guess I have once or twice, but Gary being 6'5" and doing that on the dunk, I thought he was like 6'3", but no, yeah, you're right. He is now that my brain is overcoming the drugs. He is 6'5". Wow, how can you be 6'5" and get blocked by the rim? I don't think that was tanking, but if it was, you've got to ask Gary Trent Sr. about that. He'd be a great guest to get on here. Just play him rap songs and tell him to compare it to like Jay-Z, Empire State of Mind. Is this better than Empire State of Mind? Is this better than Empire State of Mind? There's a few ex-Raptors with YouTube channels that get roughly the same juice as this one does, so I could probably get a couple guys maybe in the summer. I don't know. I wrote some notes down about that today. Anyways, Mafia reunite. Noir's block was funny, and Bruce Brown's only 3 all game. That was his only 3 all game. Was the final. I mean, I don't know what's worse, to be honest. Like, I think we all get that Bruce Brown is just kind of like out here vibing. But I don't know. Yeah, you're right. 0 for 1 from 3. I don't know what's worse, like him, that being his first 3 because you're ice cold, or if you had like a really bad. I don't know what's worse, but yeah, he leads the bench scoring. You had Jamias Ramsey starting tonight. He only played 18 minutes though, which is weird. He led the team in plus minus, 8 points in 18 minutes, 4 rebounds in a game where the Raptors got absolutely destroyed on the glass. Oh, shouts to Bruce Brown for getting 5 offensive rebounds. That is almost all of the Raptors' offensive rebounds, I think. Raptors 42 rebounds, Washington Wizards 55 rebounds. They got crushed on the glass. But Bruce Brown and Abaji with 5 offensive rebounds each. So the offensive rebound discrepancy isn't too bad, but the overall rebound discrepancy is pretty bad. Raptors 27 assists in this one, and they only made 8 threes. So not a lot of assists in terms of what they've been putting up. I mean, a decent 27 is okay, but not like a high assist game. Not a lot of threes. It's just not a ton of ball movement. I mean, you really are lacking in point guard play at this point. Like, who was the point guard in the starting lineup? You've got Olynyk, Gary, Ramsey, Abaji, Dick. Like, it was kind of Ramsey for parts of it. I mean, it was just, I guess, Kelly, all in all. I mean, Kelly gets you 10 assists, 14 points, 2 steals, 6 rebounds. Obviously he's been in the NBA for a while. He knows what this is, but he's kind of in a weird, him and Bruce Brown are kind of in weird positions because, like, I mean, it's pretty obvious what is happening here. But they're NBA players. I mean, Gary gets you 31 tonight, 10 for 10 from the free throw line, which He has been really struggling this all year, but only 1 for 7 from three. He took 26 shots tonight, so he's having fun. I guess that's like fun for Gary in a way. He just gets to kind of vibe out, kind of like Jordan Poole. Just like, all right, Gary, you're getting 26 shots tonight, and it's not even gonna look weird because it's either you or like Bruce Brown or like Mo Gay taking shots. So go out there and absolutely launch it. I didn't think Freeman Liberty, like, I don't know. He's been a tough one to analyze, I guess, because I just haven't seen that much. And tonight it felt like it was his best game, but just the bare bones of it, like 4 points in 23 minutes with 3 turnovers. Like, if you have 4 points and 3 turnovers, like, are you, I don't know, 1 for 5 from the field. It just, I think that style of NBA player is kind of hard to, like, he's not a facilitator. He's not going to run an offense for you. He's in this weird zone where there's not a lot of NBA players like him. Like, if you were going to compare him to, like, who is the upside for him that you would compare him to, it's like I actually can't even really like think of one off the top of my head. I don't know. It's just that doesn't, like, that type of, like, you just, to be a guard in the NBA and to not be a threat from far out and to not be a facilitator, how are you creating advantages on the perimeter? And I guess you can get by guys, but then you don't have the decision making once you get by them. So in the G League, sure, go nuts, score 38 points a game, but it's a lot different in the NBA. You have just, the defense is so much better, and when he's getting past guys, he's just not. He's a combo guard. He's like a Dennis Schroeder's a combo guard. Fred VanVleet's a combo guard. These are not players that you can, like. And the real, I think, one of the kind of under talked about things. I mean, the Raptors system is a bit of an assist farm, but I think quickly has shown that he came in as a combo guard. But I think you've kind of seen enough high assist games from him that you could see that I don't think he's totally ready to, like, quote unquote run an offense, and maybe he doesn't totally have to if he's playing next to Scotty. But some of these other guards that they have in, it's like, okay, here's the keys. And in lineups where he should have been the point guard, he just wasn't. And I think that's on him to take the initiative. And at the same time, like, the 4 assists is nice. I did think he was collapsing the defense a little bit better, like holding on to it a little bit longer, getting them drawn in and then kicking them out for shots. That's how he got his assists. But I don't know. I just think he's kind of a tough. If you're not a facilitator and you're not a deep shot maker, it's difficult to be, especially like in Darko's system. So that's kind of difficult to analyze. War is also kind of difficult to analyze. Like, he has these hot games. I think he usually kind of does them against not great defenses. Tonight was a pretty quiet game. He had a great, really funny turnover. He had 2 turnovers tonight. I mean, he's looking at the bench. You had Wara with 3 turnovers. Or no, Bruce Brown with 3 turnovers, Wara with 2, Freeman Liberty with 3. So you're getting 8 turnovers off your bench, which is kind of tough. Like, Wizards bench only had like 4. Yeah, it's a discombobulated team. Abaji's been playing a little bit better. You can kind of see more of the profile. And again, and then the other thing with, like, JFL is, like, he's not really known as a defender either. So not really a known defender, not a, like, deep shot maker, not a facilitator. So you're really living and dying off of the slashing ability. And funny enough, even with that slashing ability, like, he's not doing great back cuts and being found by Kelly and Bruce Brown, like, or Jonte. Like, he's a good slasher, but off ball cutting, like, I haven't really noticed him doing a lot of that, which you would think that would be really natural for him to do. But I don't know. I'm not a fucking shooting guard. The shooting guard position to me was always like a mystery. It's like, okay, you're over there doing that. That's fucking cool. Grady, overall, the last play was questionable, but overall, I like how he hit an above the break three and then a wing three really early on. Wizards broadcasts kind of drooling over him a little bit. Of course, they had the opportunity to draft him. He's had a couple nice games recently, and it's good to see that he wasn't completely devastated and shattered by his Kansas Jayhawks putting up a embarrassing performance today. So it's good to see that he can, fight through adversity. Oh, Portland and Creighton are tied right now, 36-36. Go Ducks, obviously. Mafia will reunite. Freeman looks confused and unmotivated. I don't know about unmotivated, but he does definitely look confused. And the other thing with him that is a bit of a red flag is you can say like, oh, he's not used to this team. He's not used to this system. But as a open gym watcher, as a podcast listener, I have been told that the system in the 905 is similar to what the Raptors are running. So although the personnel is different, the concept shouldn't be completely alien to him. And you can never count G League scoring. That's like a huge lesson, I think. And I know people get really excited about that stuff, but like Svi Mihalik used to go down and get a 40 burger in the G League. Like Chris Boucher won the MVP of the G League, I believe. There's levels to this stuff, so can't really have the expectation of him coming in as like a 35-point game, but I definitely think you can have higher expectations than 4 points and 3 turnovers in 23 minutes. Like that's so it's like you're getting the adventurous passes, but then you're also getting the turnovers from those adventurous passes because he's kind of, I think, being forced into this role. And I mean, obviously not adapting as well as like, an Emmanuel quickly. And having no Scotty, it just kind of makes any, actual discussion about this. Trash Clips, JFL is a volume slasher. He's not comfortable or good enough to do that in the NBA. Yeah, and it's like, I mean, look at like Drew Timme for Gonzaga. It's like the college player of the century. It's different in the NBA. Steve Autio. Bruce Brown can pad his stats. It's a win-win for him. The Raptors helps his trade value. Do you think anything he does helps his trade value or doesn't do? Like, I hate to break it to you, Mr. Audio. People who may be interested in Bruce Brown aren't like tuning into Raptor games and being like, ooh, Bruce Brown. Toronto Raptors, Bruce Brown against Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole shot a true shooting percentage of blah, 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 and was a box minus plus. Like, guy won a championship in Denver. There's lots of tape on Bruce Brown. Everybody in basketball knows what this team is. Sorry, Mr. Audio, but I don't think the only win in any of this is the Raptors potentially getting a lottery pick. This is the only win. No one else is winning. Trash Clip says, I think the Ringer has Reed Shepherd at 2 overall. That is specifically KOC. And KOC has had some pretty incredible draft takes in the past, and a lot of draft people have had those takes in the past, but I don't know if anybody comes off as more confident in their own tea leaves than Kevin O'Connor. So kind of but yeah, that's pretty much what are you guys saying here? Mazar M says, do the Wizards broadcast know that they haven't had a 50-win season in over 46 years? Poverty franchise, they shouldn't be talking. what were they talk? I don't know what you mean. But they were talking. The only thing they were talking about was March Madness and how Denny Avdia is on every team scouting report, and that they're just so over the moon with Denny Avdia. That's like pretty much all they were saying. Yes, they probably know that the Wizards, who used to be called the Bullets, which is a way cooler name. William Seal, thank goodness for the loss. We are now one game ahead of the Grizzlies in the draft odds, and yes, I believe they beat the Spurs last night. Portland playing Denver right now, only down by 10.5. Portland Trailblazers. Dwap, I know that's not how you say it, but Dwap Reith, I think it's Wap Reith, 13 points. It looks like Shaedon Sharpe isn't playing, Anthony Simons isn't playing, and DeAndre Ayton isn't playing. Matisse Thybulle isn't. Oh my God. So the Portland Trailblazers, who the Raptors, oh my God, I may have underestimated the Portland Trailblazers. Big mistake. So the Portland Trailblazers, who the Raptors are in a race, tanking race with right now, are going up against a Denver Nuggets team without Jokic. Oh, okay. Jokic isn't playing. Maybe he's resting. But the Portland Trailblazers resting for the Portland Trail, or not, I don't know if they're resting, but not playing for the Portland Trailblazers. Shaedon Sharpe, Anthony Simons, Ibu Baji, DeAndre Ayton, Matisse Thybulle, Jeremy Grant, Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams III. So they got Ryan Rupert out here. They got too many cameras. They got Scoot. They got Chris Murray. Ashton Hagens. Is that like a Dutch guy or something? Got Delano out there. Jabari Walker. Moses Brown is in there. And they are only down by 10 to the Denver Nuggets. So maybe they pull it out. Maybe Ryan Rupert is it Rupert? Is he Australian? I know Australians like the silent T's. And who do the Raptors have up next? The Raptors have the Nets on Monday, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. The Brooklyn. I got something to show. I got a prop. I don't know why I have this, but I could maybe. I think if the Raptors make it 11 games, I could pop that on. I think that was like an impulse buy. I've had that forever. I think I had that in like 2015 or something. It's not a very nice. The Mitchell and Ness hats. They're too boxy. They make my head look massive, and it is an objectively ugly hat, and I don't know why I have it. But I'm saying it's on the table if the Nets push this to 11. Just it's more out of the Nets, thanks to the Nets than the Raptors. I know Michael Grange put out an article yesterday being like, the Thunder should be Canada's official team while the Raptors rebuild, which I think some Toronto people took offense to that. I was only just like, well, you do know that I know you've never left Toronto in your entire life, and the only thing you're interested in is Toronto. But you do know that the Sonics were a 2-hour drive from like millions of us, right? And they were taken very, I guess illegally is not the right word, but things were very shady and bent, and it's pretty well known and pretty obvious. And so that was a weird article.
Well, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they got a guy from Minnesota, which is, pretty close to the border there. They got, Lou, he's a good, Canadian guy, and you got, Shea Alexander over there and the team. So, you cheer for them a little bit.
Oh, man, that voice it's a strain in a weird part of you have to hit a weird part of the throat to get that. It's like in the back and down. It's tough. It's the Jeff Dowden, Jordan Peterson, Cape Ness, Michael Grange voice. It takes a lot out of you. Trash clips. Does Dennis get a tribute video? Dennis has already been back, and I already put that out. Vegan grass. Imagine the applicants Sportsnet must have received if Alvin was their best option. What was Alvin up to tonight? I missed out on the Sportsnet broadcast. It's weird. When Alvin first started, people were like, oh, well, he's new. You have to give him a shot. And then I went on his LinkedIn, and he's been with Sportsnet since like 2012, I believe. Because I was trying to figure out, like, I'm new to all this. I'm still trying to figure out who Cabby is. Like, I still don't really know. I'm trying to learn who all the people are and, like, what they're about and what their average article scores on Grammarly. Who, by the way, is shifting to AI-based. Fucking, I hate everything. Trash clips. OG's homecoming is on Wednesday too. I mean, obviously there'll be a video for that. So my prediction for the Knicks game, I think OG will have a good game. Is he playing? I've seen he's had like 14 injuries since joining the Knicks, but I just have this feeling that Precious will deliver for the tank. Like, I think Precious is going to come out and get like 22 and 14 on the Raptors. It's just going to be one of those. Has he ever gotten a triple double before? Precious Achiuwa? I would like that would be if I knew how to bet on sports, or if I knew what plus 100 was, or if I had answered the emails from the sports betting websites that wanted to sponsor this channel, which is hilarious. I already lost a corporate sponsor. I should make a video about that, how I lost a corporate sponsor. You guys remember the car ads? Anybody remember the car ads I used to do when it would just show like cars crashing and stuff and being like, go buy a car, but don't be like these people? And then that ran out, but maybe. But yeah, vegan grass, Alvin, Sportsnet, their best option. I don't know. I applied to the Sportsnet grill to be a dishwasher, and I did not hear anything back. And I've had a couple of people be like, hey, you talk about the media, but your content is so shitty and you're really boring, and you tried to apply to Sportsnet and TSN and didn't make it, and now you're just a sore loser and blah, blah, blah. I just want to make it clear to everybody, I did not apply for any on-air or talent jobs. I applied to be a dishwasher at the Sportsnet grill and did not receive a, like, thank you for submitting your application. You know, we went another way with it. I got no love, absolutely nothing. Trash clips. Here we go. Precious Achiuwa has not had a triple-double in his career. I'm telling you, if there's a, what do they call it, prop bet or whatever, or parlay or something, if you can parlay Precious Achiuwa triple-double against the Raptors, that might be the first bet I ever make on sports, because I bet the odds if he's never had it before. Can you bet on stuff like that? Can you just bet on an in-game parlay, Precious Achiuwa triple-double? I guess you're allowed. Ipe is going to take that one. I guess you're allowed to talk about gambling. I mean, everybody else does. I got to learn what plus 100 is. Steve Audio. It's probably Audio, but I like Audio. Who's better, JFL or Doughton? You know, I'm gonna lean Doughton on that one. Sample size is like roughly the same. Saw him quite a bit of G League. I guess Doughton we've seen more of. But they both kind of suffer from that Malachi syndrome. It's like the point guard. It's the two point guards that pick up syndrome. So if you're a point guard, if you go to a pickup game and maybe you're new, like you don't know anybody there, it's already established, maybe someone's much larger than you and just more dominating the scene or whatever, and it's clear that you're like the second point guard, and now it's awkward for you because you're used to having the ball in your hands, but now you're like the second, so you kind of have to play like an off ball or like a shooting guard or like a combo guard, and that's like a really awkward, can be a really awkward fit, like if you're not used to it, and it can be weird to like kind of even just like lining up like on the wing when you're used to having the ball, being off ball, and then being, okay, how do I make cuts, or how do I move off the ball to get into position where I can get the ball again? And I've thought Doughton Malachi and JFL have all suffered from that, like, I'm the second point guard on this team and I don't really know what to do. And the funny thing with Malachi especially is he was often clearly like the point guard on the floor, but it's almost like he didn't know that or something. Is he playing, by the way? I know he's on Detroit. Is he like trash clips? What's Malachi's minutes per game since leaving the Raptors? Trash clips. Alvin made 2 Mo Pete references on the broadcast tonight. Yeah, Alvin's like, he's got that like 2001 till 2009, which is when I was in high school at the back end of that. So that's, a time when I was young and alive. I remember it clearly. Maybe it wasn't a great time, but I do remember it clearly. And yeah, he is such a throwback to that generation. Just like the way he talks about basketball. He's not so much like, when you watch March Madness, you get a lot of the people, I guess, even older than him. There's not a better fit in the world of like someone 40, 45 plus and not liking that 3. I don't like that 3. Oh, he made it. Oh, great shot, great shooter. I don't like that 3. So he doesn't do that too much. Like I don't think he's bitter about how the game has like evolved, but he is just straight out of like that decade. It's kind of amazing. What else did he say on the broadcast tonight? I missed the Sportsnet broadcast. Yes, they told me to GTFO out of the Sportsnet grill. I wanted to try to do a thing where, so like the YouTube shorts that Sportsnet does, a lot of them will get like 800 views. They have 900,000 subscribers. But I wanted to see if I could like get into the kitchen and make videos that from the kitchen, just like the cutlery, because I used to be a dishwasher back in high school. So you've got lots of opportunities for content. Like the cutlery is all perfect. Like everything is super, like you put 46 knives in this little thing. You put 35 spoons into this one. You put the small spoons here, the big cups, small cups. Like everything is very symmetrical and I think would be great for video. So I kind of wanted to do a thing with Sportsnet, like a trial run, to see if I could get more views than them on YouTube, than their content on YouTube, by just filming stuff in the Sportsnet Girls Kitchen. Like if I could outperform their shorts on YouTube. That would have been my like strategy, basically. Trash clips. Malachi Flynn averages 8 minutes per game with Detroit. Got some work to do in the offseason. I know people gave Malachi all this credit for gaining 7 pounds. I gained like 32 pounds. So I don't know. I'll never forget this. And Will was probably the most guilty person out of any Raptors media for this. He was actually. It's I don't know why there's like random stories that you just never forget as a human being. And one of them was that game. This was like 2020, maybe 2021. I'll read the Darko coaching camp thing in a second, but Malachi staying after the game for 30 minutes to shoot because I guess he had a bad shooting night. And the Raptors media were just like so in love with someone's thing. And I think that came out like that was around the time that like The Last Dance came out, which I just legally 100% legal way of doing it. Got it on my computer again recently. Watched the first episode, and obviously you can't compare people to MJ, but it is really funny. Like NBA players, I think a lot more work goes into being an NBA player than people realize. So this whole like, oh, he spent 30 minutes shooting after a game, this is so incredible. It's like, man, you got to see what these guys put themselves through to even like get into this position. And I think shooting for 30 minutes after a game is like not that special. But I'll just always remember that as like, that was like Malachi propaganda at its absolute peak. Like Malachi stayed, I think people wrote articles about it. He stayed after a game for 30 minutes to get shots up. Steve Audio, you should do more of the bar cam play-by-play breakdown stretch. 2 days in a row. You guys want the third one? So let's read so there was a really fascinating thing on, it's not that fascinating, but interesting thing on Real GM. Someone attended Darko's coaching clinic and took up some notes. I don't have to read like the whole thing, but I did like this. It says McDaniels can't even shoot well unguarded in practice. Very streaky, awful shooting mechanics. He needs to gain strength badly. Wara is just as lazy on D in practice. In fact, I don't think it's laziness. I think he fundamentally doesn't know where to be. And liner note, I have said that multiple times where like there was the one, like he finds unique ways to get cooked. Like it's almost creative. There was that one play where he got spun around and like spun the wrong way, kind of like a Jordan Poole carry thing, but on defense. Number 3, this whole season is about teaching fundamentals and how to play as a team. They're basically spending 75% of the time working on the offense. The things they're working on look amazing. It's no wonder we generate so many quality looks. I don't like how he switches from we to they. That's like disorienting, but hey. Number 4, it was obvious that there was a clear emphasis on IQ, Dick, and Oshai and their development. Almost every play in practice was run for them. So I get the IQ and Dick part. I'm interested in what Obaji's like role in this is. I would assume it's kind of strictly as a finisher. I don't see a lot of like creation juice, but it's interesting that he's like in that echelon with those guys. Great. Yeah, Garrett Temple's a great influence, has a great rapport with the young guys. Barnes wants to be involved with everything. He was with the coaches as they were walking the team through the actions, just trying to soak up knowledge and be a leader. Very positive energy. Number 7, Boucher is a real hood man's, ha ha ha. Much more outgoing, away from the cameras. Seems like the most fun personality on the team, along with Scotty. They're clearly friends. Didn't really see that on the podcast with him. He seemed kind of like, just like he ate a lemon before recording or something. But number 8, Pirtle is a very serious worker, and even with one hand was working on his push shots. Even with one hand, like these guys are NBA players. Even with one hand, of course he's even with one hand. By the way, one of the worst pieces of advice you'll ever hear, and there's a few. You know what? No. Do I start wars with the 11 people watching right now? There are people on YouTube teaching basketball fundamentals, skills, drills, all that stuff. There are people who will tell you not to practice shooting with one hand. It's like the dumbest thing in the world, because what if you are like a decent shooter, but you want to work on your touch, you want to transition into more floaters, more push shots, teardrops, things with one hand? Wouldn't shooting with one hand be a great little bridge from building that skill of moving from two hands to one-handed shooting? Obviously not for most of the time you're practicing, but shooting it with one hand or one arm is a really good way to build up your floaters, to build up your teardrops. It's like a bridge to get there. So that was my really useless rant on basketball coaches giving people fucking blanket advice without any context. Number 9, Bruce Brown was running with the G League guys and not as a mentor. He clearly has had trouble picking up the offensive schemes. He says our offensive schemes. That's a war I'll never win. I should just pack that one in. Like referring to the team as we or our. I probably need to give that one up. I've always just thought it's so weird to talk like that. But anyways, the G League guys were working solely on learning the schemes the entire practice. This explains why he frequently seems so out of sync and doesn't know what to do with the ball once he gets it. He's freestyling out there. I mean, that does kind of confirm what we see. He is kind of a point guard at times, just freestyling. Number 10, Pat Delaney's principles on defense are strong. We just don't spend a lot of time on it on practice. It's like fuck. I need that's my version of heroin is getting irritated when people when they talk as if they're on the team, like they're doing the practice, like they're in the practice. We just don't spend a lot of time on it in practice. The focus this year seems to be on the offense. Well, that is also very clear that the focus is not on defense. I think there's got to be somewhat of a balance. You would hope. Number 11, this is a good one. Grady Dick has his own individual development program run by Ivo Simosevic. It's either Simosevic or Simosevic. Either one of those two. And a lot of it, apart from the physical development stuff, is rooted in the most basic fundamentals. Miking drills, form shooting, shot preparation, bumping your defender before using a screen. Very little things that make a huge difference. So it's individual development program. You definitely see an increase in strength, but obviously, like in today's game, he gets bumped around quite a bit. I mean, he's still only like just turned 20, so that's good to hear. I've also heard that he's, kind of there early, putting the work in. So this one was wild. Next, number 12, he predicts that the Raptors will be a 50-win team soon. So that's optimistic. Darko's an inspiring leader, strong attention to detail, holds his players accountable, great teacher. Offense looks incredible, and I can see what they want to do on D. They're just not there yet. He's less about authority, more about collaboration, blah, blah, blah. He's just very respectful. And then, yeah, it just kind of goes on from there. But some interesting insights. Kind of wonder what the vibe is around a team where it's pretty obvious what's happening. But you got a first-year coach, so it's not the worst situation. Trash clips. Didn't Garrett say on the Raptors show this week that they spend a majority of practice on defense? LOL. I don't remember. The only thing I remember is how do you stay ready for these games? That's the only part I remember because it was really funny. But yeah, hopefully that's not 75% offense, 25% defense, because that, it's definitely pretty apparent in the play, but you would hope that would change. I've talked about it before. It's probably not that fair to completely just kind of judge Pat Delaney, who is the defensive guy, because he has been a part of like some really poor defenses, including with the Wizards. So that's, on one hand, you can't blame him for those, but you also can't really trust that he like has the answer, because he hasn't shown that anywhere else, and so far this year definitely has not. It is pretty funny how things shifted so fast from offense to defense, and then like 2 weeks later the NBA is like, oh, we're just gonna not call a bunch of fouls anymore. So could the Raptors timing on all of this actually get even worse? Because obviously, not to rehash all that again, but the timing on a lot of their moves have been really questionable, and now it's kind of funny that the NBA makes a first move into prioritizing defense a little bit more. Does the NBA go even further than that and try to make defense even more important? And does that make the timing of what the Raptors have done even more hilariously bad? So it's another fun, exciting thing to chew on. Vegan Grass, stop deleting your messages. The only message you should delete is when you said Scotty didn't really actually watch my videos. I still heard about that. But everything else you say in the chat is usually Usually pretty good. And I am vegan again. Went vegetarian for a few months. Back to vegan. I got tempted by the sidekicks. The who makes sidekicks? Knorr, I think, Knorr. You see them in your grocery aisle. That pushed me to be a vegetarian, but I'm back vegan again. So everything's all good. I got asked the other day how I recover if I go to the gym. How do I recover if I'm a vegan? And it just was like thinking after, how do meat eating? Because I recover with like foam rolling, stretching. That's lacrosse ball, baseball, basketball, rolling all of those. I guess if you're a meat eater, do you just put like steaks on your face or something? Does that help? You marinate yourself in like a broth. I don't know. But the Raptors lost tonight, 112, 109 to 109. One possession game. Pretty even game, but the Wizards outscore the Raptors 35-28 in the fourth quarter. They end the game. Well, they were on an 11-0 run. Gary hits 3 free throws. 3 free throws. And once the Wizards went on a 9-0 run in the first quarter, I had doubts about the Raptors' chance of winning this game. And then when the Wizards went on a 13-0 run in the fourth quarter, I went, well, this is already over. The Wizards are going to win. Get your thumbnails ready. What are you going to call this fucking stream? Are you going to call it The Tank Will Be Studied? Are you going to call it The Tank is Indestructible? You start coming with ideas about the tank. What picture are you going to use? Are you going to use Gary lying on the floor or Bruce Brown lying on the floor? You get all that ready. You got your Amsterdam fucking... I really like this background for some reason. You got your Amsterdam background all ready to go. I like this kind of roof light over here, this red part, and the green thing over here. I like all the little parts of it. Anyways, one of my favorite locations that I'm in right now, obviously in Amsterdam. It's got all that ready, and then it's like, are the Wizards actually going to fuck this all up? Something just flashed in my brain. Your job is to... what's that from? Is to fuck us. Not... It's Al Pacino. Is it Heat? I think my brain has just been taken over by Heat. Not... Sometimes I accidentally in videos steal deliveries and lines from people. Definitely did anyways, that's not that interesting. Your job... Oh, no, it's from Glengarry Glen Ross. It is Al Pacino, but it's Glengarry Glen Ross. Who ever told you that you could work with men? You asshole. You stupid fucking cunt. You idiot. I'm going down to Mitch and Murray. I'm going downtown. You never call the shot. And like my Al Pacino, it's pretty good, huh? What does he say? What is his line? You never call the shot until you know the score? You never take the shot. What is the quote in that? That's very applicable to tonight's game. Glengarry Glen Ross. If you haven't watched that movie, it's a star-studded classic. I need this for the Raptors game. I need the shot quote. You never open your mouth until you know what the shot is. You never open your mouth. I can't do Pacino. Your job is to help us, not to fuck us. To fuck us up? Your job, he's telling it to Kevin Spacey, is to help. I'm going to Limpkin. I'm going downtown to Mitch and Murray. That's what Pacino's at his best. He does that in Heat too, where he just gets like really rambunctious, like not for no reason, but he just like overdoes it. It's just classic Pacino. 'Cause she got a great ass. Go watch Heat. Nolan Jacobson. I wouldn't trust the NBA on that one. They say shit like that every year, and calls go back to normal 2 months into the season. I mean, yeah, you're talking about the carrying or whatever. Remember when hanging on the rim, there was like a technical foul every game for someone hanging on the rim, and I can't remember the last time that was called. I imagine Adam Silver just hopping on the phone and being like, "What the fuck? Your job is to help us, not to fuck us up." That's such a fuck. That's such a good scene. Like Glengarry Glen Ross is like not that like it's not that watchable of a movie like from front to end. Like it's not Escape from Alcatraz. Like you're not like glued into it, but it has great like singular scenes. Obviously, I mean the most famous scene is Coffees for Closers, but the Al Pacino Kevin Spacey scene when Kevin Spacey blows the deal and he's like, "Oh, the check, we cleared the check, it's all good," and he's like, "You cleared the check." And the guy who plays that role, like the poor sap that gets talked into buying the scam real estate. He plays that part so well. He's just like shattered. Like he put his money into this thing, and then Pacino just absolutely eviscerates Kevin Spacey in one of the most you idiot, you stupid fucking cunt, you idiot. Unrelated, did you see some Iowa Police Department posted a congratulations tweet for Iowa State player because her last name was Crooks? Yeah, shouts to Audi Crooks. Maybe one of the best names you'll ever hear. She's a unit. She's freshman. She's tearing it up. I read something that like I forgot how long ago it was, but back not that long ago, like a few decades ago, something like 70%, maybe not 70, but it was some wild number of like female basketball players in America that played in, I don't know if it was D1, but were from Iowa. So I guess I don't know what's happening, and I don't know why that the numbers are so different, but I kind of want to research that. Obviously, they got lots of Caitlin Clark got like punched in the face earlier today. I don't know if people saw that. That was a wild play. And then I like how the player just like punched her in the face and then just like came up. Like she was just as surprised as anybody else and like wanted to get she was like rolling and then just punched Caitlin like full wind up and punched her in the face. It was wild. And there was some really funny. Somebody tweeted something about it that was funny. I can't remember though. But yeah, Raptors lose. Next game's against the Nets. Dennis is back. I bet Dennis knows that they're trying. Dennis obviously knows they're trying to tank, so maybe Dennis will throw up a stinker, but I think Precious will go nuts. Yeah, could see him just having a career game. That would be really funny. That would probably be the funniest timeline, is if the Raptors if the Raptors end up keeping their pick, and it's because again, the other thing that always needs to be talked about with the pick that never gets talked about, I don't know why it never gets talked about, but it drives me crazy, but it's like the people when they say we're on the team or whatever. There is a third scenario that people don't talk about because it's like, oh, do we want the pick or do we not want the pick? There's a third scenario where it conveys into 2 seconds in a few years. So you really have to think the Raptors are going to suck this badly. Like when do you expect the odds to be this good again? When do you expect them to have a 10-game losing streak and they don't even beat the Wizards on game number 10? Like, do you really see this happening again? So, and if it doesn't, then you're just going to keep kicking the can down the road and you're going to end up with 2 fucking second-round picks, which sucks. So that's my little to my little spiel. But yeah, the funniest timeline would be the Raptors like keeping their pick and just getting in like one game or a tiebreaker scenario and having that one game where it is like a Precious Achua who just comes in and is like the deciding factor in a game. Like that would be the funniest. I don't think Malachi's going to do it. I don't know if they play the Wizards again. Dennis is too smart. Like Dennis knows the deal, so he's not going to do it. I feel like with OG, he's not the type to be. I don't know. I just for some reason I see Precious doing it more than OG doing it. But that would be like the funniest outcome to just be like scorched. But Precious would be a lot funnier. But yeah, so I'm gonna go watch the Ducks. The fucking Ducks, man. What are they? 58-57. Oregon up by 1. 3 minutes. Okay, I gotta tap out here. I gotta go check out the fucking Ducks. Go watch the Ducks. Go Ducks. Chris Boucher's former team, and a 7-hour drive from me. So go cheer. Go cheer for the Ducks. Cool jerseys. The yellow and green with the big O. You've seen it before, folks. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. Next game on Monday. Only 11 games left in the season. Only 11 more of these. So enjoy them. And if you don't, then I don't know. Go watch the Ducks. Okay? It'll be it's a seamless transition if you watched the Raptors Wizards to the college game.